Omarion Hampton is one of the best running backs in the 2025 NFL draft class. He's a north-south runner who wins with size, strength, and power. He makes good decisions between the tackles with the help of his excellent vision, contact balance, and initial burst to get to the next level. He comps favorably to a recent NFL rushing champion and projects to be used in a similar fashion in the league. But before we dig too deep into the Omarion Hampton scouting report, let's take a closer look at his journey. From Clayton, North Carolina, Omarion Hampton racked up 1,948 yards and 39 touchdowns as a senior at Cleveland High School. He finished his career with an unbelievable 5,370 yards and 88 touchdowns. As a four-star recruit in the class of 2022, Omarion Hampton was flooded with offers from schools like Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, and others. He opted for North Carolina, where he started 4 of 13 games as a true freshman. That resulted in 441 total yards and 7 touchdowns and included the first 100-yard rushing performance by a Tar Heels freshman since 1946. And then Omarion Hampton's breakout came as a sophomore in 2023. He ran the ball 253 times for 1,504 yards and 15 touchdowns. In the passing game, Hampton added 222 yards and another score on 29 receptions. He was named first-team All-ACC, second-team All-American, and he was a finalist for the Doak Walker Award. The dominance continued in 2024 when Omarion Hampton had a streak of 6 straight 100-yard games and finished 6th in the nation in rushing yards per game. His final totals were 1,660 yards and 15 touchdowns on 281 carries. He also took a step in the receiving game, catching 38 passes for 373 yards and 2 touchdowns. His 17 total touchdowns included an incredible 5-score game against Florida State in Week 10. And once again, Omarion Hampton was named first team All-Conference. Omarion Hampton now enters the NFL draft as a junior. He's going to be 22 years old at the time of the NFL draft, and he's listed at 5'11", 219 pounds. But let's talk about the positives, the things that we like in Omarion Hampton's profile. The first is he has good hands. This is a big between the tackles running back. He'll win with size and power, brute force, but he's also an asset in the receiving game. He's got the hands and the production to back that up. He's got excellent contact balance. He's going to bounce off tacklers like a pinball running through traffic. He's explosive through the hole. He's got excellent initial burst. And while he may not be the fastest running back in the draft class, he certainly gets up to his top gear very quickly. That's going to help him get to the second level of a defense and create those explosive runs. And Omarion Hampton is also excellent at identifying running lanes. He's got great vision behind the line of scrimmage. It's very rare that he chooses the wrong direction to run, the wrong lane to run through. He anticipates, he identifies, and he goes. It's something I really like about Omarion Hampton. We also gotta love the production. This guy was productive over the last couple of years. He had that 1,500-yard sophomore season. We love these guys who have a nice breakout early in their college career. We see so many running backs who wait until their junior, senior season to have that true breakout. So I really get excited when we see these guys who are doing it early on at a young age, and they're dominating when doing so. Omarion Hampton checks that box in a big way. On the negative side, Omarion Hampton lacks some open field elusiveness. He's not a guy who's going to juke you out. He's not going to put on any spin moves. He's not a huge tackle breaker in the open field. And part of that is because he's got that uninspiring lateral movement. This is a guy whose agility is a little underwhelming. You know, he's not going to be running a lot of outside zone concepts where he needs to cut up the field, find those cutback lanes. He's a north-south runner. That's where his strength is, and that's okay. And then he also lacks that breakaway speed. He's plenty fast enough. He's got requisite speed. He's going to break off some chunk plays. But more often than not, if he gets out into the open field, he's probably going to be run down from behind. And that's okay. There are plenty of very successful NFL running backs who create explosive plays that aren't barn burners, home run hitters. It's great when they can do it. It's not the end of the world when they can't. The archetype, Omarion Hampton is an all-purpose running back. He's going to provide value on all 3 downs. He's going to get it done between the tackles. He's going to get it done in the red zone, at the goal line, in the passing game. And that reminds me a lot of Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has had a career where he adds value to his offenses in a number of different ways. He doesn't have to come off the field in any particular situation. He's not a guy that comes onto the field and defenses know what the offense is going to do because he's not one-dimensional. And he's had such a successful career, especially over the last few years. He led the NFL in rushing yards in 2022. battled some injuries in 2023, signed with a new team in 2024, and he was excellent with the Packers last season, especially late in the year in the playoffs. I think we can get a pretty similar career arc for Omarion Hampton at the NFL level. And draft projection, Omarion Hampton is likely to come off the board in the second round. There is talk that he could work his way into the back half of the first round. There's a very real chance that he's the number 2 running back off the board after Ashton Jeanty. So the draft capital is certainly going to be there for Omarion Hampton. And if we dive a little bit deeper into the numbers for Omarion Hampton, we gotta love his 2.29 yards per team play. Anytime a guy can reach 1.9 or above on yards per team play, it's excellent. Hampton goes well above that. Yards per team play is just telling us that this guy is he's heavily involved in his team's offense, rushing, even receiving. He's getting the touches, he's getting the work, he's on the field, but he's also efficient, he's productive when he gets those opportunities, especially when we see a number like 2.29 that Hampton is giving us. We also gotta love the 16.5% reception share. That came in his best season of 2024 for that number. When you think of the style of runner that Omarion Hampton is, when you look at his body style, you're not really thinking, oh, this guy's an excellent receiving back, but he's a good receiving back. He's a guy who was heavily involved in the passing game at North Carolina. That tells us 2 things. It tells us that Omarion Hampton is he's a quality receiver out of the backfield, but it also tells us that he's a pretty damn good player. He's a weapon in that offense. He's a guy that coaches have identified as somebody they want to get the football to. They want to get the ball in his hands in a number of different ways, not just a between the tackles grinder. They want to get him out in space. They want to check it down to him on swings and screens and give him those opportunities to make plays in different ways. And that, of course, includes down in the red zone at the goal line. And that is reflected by Omarion Hampton's 38.6% touchdown share. That's a fantastic number. We comped him to Josh Jacobs. A big part of Josh Jacobs' game is punching in those touchdowns. He's excellent down there at the goal line. Hampton can do the same. The bottom line is Omarion Hampton is a hard-nosed, between the tackles runner who wins with size, power, and strength. He's at his best when he's running north and south, putting him in prime position to lower the boom on any defender that stands in his way. His initial burst and explosion help him get through the run lane and on to the next level. And once in the open field, Omarion Hampton won't threaten anyone with his moves, but he will surely lower the boom and is guaranteed a violent finish to the run. His speed is enough to rip off some long runs, but he's just as likely to get caught from behind as he is to house it. Hampton is a decisive runner with good vision and the ability to quickly identify the open lanes, accelerate through it, and get to the next level before you know it. His physicality, power, and contact balance make him an ideal choice in short yardage and goal line situations. He operated mostly from a shotgun formation at North Carolina, but his downhill running style should translate very well to a behind center alignment as well. In the passing game, Omarion Hampton provides a reliable checkdown option with sure hands and some juice after the catch. Perhaps he could expand his route tree further at the next level, but it wasn't something he was asked to do much beyond the simple stuff at North Carolina, despite what his career receiving totals might suggest. Now, there are only a few negatives on the Omarion Hampton profile. That includes his long speed, which is underwhelming compared to some of his classmates, but it's good enough to be able to pick up some chunk plays in the NFL. His lateral agility is lacking, but he makes up for it with an aggressive downhill running style. And his open field creativity is non-existent, but defenders will still have to think about whether or not they want to endure the boom that he is sure to deliver. Overall, Omarion Hampton will translate well to a quality between the tackles runner at the NFL level. He will be a great fit in an offense that runs a lot of gap and inside zone concepts. He has proven to be effective from both a shotgun alignment as well as a more traditional behind the center formation, and he'll appeal to teams in search of a running back who runs hard and finishes even harder. He will certainly bring some physicality to an offense and be a guy they can lean on to make plays in the red zone, win in short yardage, and close out games in the fourth quarter against a tired defense. Hampton will easily command 250 plus touches as a team's featured running back. His reliability in the passing game will be an added value as well. And looking ahead to the NFL draft, Omarion Hampton is the early favorite to be the second running back drafted after Boise State's Ashton Jeanty. He'll likely be an early second round pick with some talk that he could work his way into the first. Either way, Omarion Hampton is going to be a surefire first round pick in our dynasty rookie drafts this spring. But here's the deal, you don't have to wait until your rookie drafts to get this guy. You can draft all of your favorite rookies right now against real people on Fast Draft. and the drafts only take about 5 minutes. No, seriously, 5 minutes. Jump into their rookie-only tournament. It's called Origins, where you can even get a head start on 2025 best ball. Visit draftfaster.com for more information, or just download the Fast Draft app. And when you do, make sure you sign up using promo code YARDSPER, and they will double your first deposit up to $25. That's promo code YARDSPER on Fast Draft. Let's get it.